Hey guys, what's going on? Blaine back for another Netflix review, and today I'm going to be talking about Run. I'm going to try and keep this review as short as possible for two reasons. One being that this movie has actually been out for a while now. It was released 4 months ago on Hulu, which is a network that we don't have here in Canada, as far as my knowledge goes anyway. And it just recently got released internationally by Netflix, so that's how I was able to watch it. And the second reason being, you just gotta check out this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, trust me, it is worth your while, 100%. It tells the story of a teenage student confined to a wheelchair named Chloe, who's played by Kiera Allen, who's being raised and taught by her single mother Diane, who's played by Sarah Paulson. Chloe has a variety of medical conditions and disabilities that affect her daily life, not just related to her wheelchair, but she also has asthma, arrhythmia, and I think one or two other things. And all these conditions affect Chloe's ability to be able to participate in things that a normal able-bodied adult woman would be able to do, which also causes her mother Diane to be very protective and very sheltering of her, which we notice immediately as soon as the movie starts. Despite all the medical issues that she has to deal with throughout her childhood and up to the point in the movie where we're introduced to her, she manages to live a semi-normal lifestyle as she's constantly studying and learning subjects and material that's being taught by her mother as she's getting ready to become a contributing member of society. It's not that long into the movie, however, that we see that Chloe realizes things aren't as normal in the house as they appeared to be. Chloe goes to look in the groceries one day while her mother steps outside the house to answer a phone call, and she finds a bottle of medication in her mother's name that apparently is supposed to be in Chloe's name. Because Chloe uses so many different types of medications to manage the disabilities and conditions that she has to deal with, she ends up being very puzzled as to why these medications that look identical to the ones that she uses are in her mother's name instead. This revelation kickstarts a series of events in which Chloe must investigate her mother's secrets while dealing with her increasingly controlling and erratic behavior. There are other characters in this movie apart from Chloe and Diane, but they're all minor in nature. They don't really offer anything to the table other than just moving the story forward. As far as this movie is concerned, it is all about the relationship between Chloe and Diane. Kiera Allen does a fantastic job in the role of Chloe. I was surprised to learn after watching this movie that the actress who plays her is actually confined to a wheelchair in real life. And I know that's weird of me to say, by the way. I guess I'm just used and conditioned to seeing our regular average Hollywood actors sit in a wheelchair and pretend to be a quadriplegic or paraplegic, whatever the role may be, because we're used to seeing them do their jobs as actors and we're supposed to believe them in the role that they're playing. Kiera Allen, however, adds an extra layer of authenticity to this movie and just makes the role that much more believable whenever you watch it. I was constantly worried for Chloe's safety the entire time I was watching this movie. Whenever she had an asthma attack or a heart palpitation, and especially whenever she was out of her wheelchair crawling prone on the ground to escape a harrowing situation, I was always on the edge of my seat and I couldn't wait to see what happened next. Half of this movie's thrills come just whenever Chloe's on a time limit trying to figure something out before her mother comes home and sees her doing something that she doesn't want her to do. These situations start off pretty small at the beginning. It just starts off with that pill bottle like I mentioned before, and she's trying to research on the computer and figure out what the medication is, but she doesn't have access to that information because her mother cut off the internet, so she has to call a random stranger in order to figure out the side effects of a medication that was in that pill bottle from earlier. So it starts off with small stakes, and from there it just keeps building and escalating, and man, it was a wild ride. The other half of this movie's thrills come in the form of Diane whenever she does her absolute best to try and prevent Chloe from discovering the truth. Sarah Paulson is brilliant in the role. She switches emotions at the flick of a switch, and she runs through the whole gamut of them whenever she's interacting with Chloe, so you can tell that she does love her, but it's in a very sick and twisted kind of way. And even at the beginning of the movie, whenever they show her doing all sorts of fun things with Chloe at the beginning, you can tell that there's definitely something off with her, and she's hiding a lot more than what she lets on. There's two things that I like most about this movie. One is the fact that there's so many inventive and unique scenarios in this movie that I haven't seen in any other movie to date. There's just so many different things being thrown around, like different kinds of medication and all their side effects. There's an especially huge reveal that happens in a pharmacy whenever Chloe discovers the truth behind that medication I mentioned earlier, and it completely threw me for a loop. I had no idea what to expect in that scene, but it definitely wasn't that. Another great moment in the movie was when there was a confrontation between Chloe and Diane after Chloe had escaped the house and inevitably got caught by Diane escaping from the house, and the entire time there's this mailman situated in between the two who's trying to defuse the whole situation. I've seen scenes like this in thrillers in the past where there's an innocent bystander that's situated between the protagonist and the antagonist and they're trying to make things right by everyone, but in this case I just loved how protracted the suspense was, having no idea what was going to happen, although inevitably something was going to happen to the poor mailman. I can't really think of anything bad to complain about in this movie. If there was one thing that I would have liked to see a little bit more development on though, was the fact that Chloe spends a lot of time in the movie working on all kinds of electronic inventions, and I would have loved to see her use more of those in the movie to escape the harrowing situations that she finds herself in, but for whatever reason we don't really see the movie explore that side of her. Just seeing all the crazy kinds of punishment that Chloe has to deal with from the hands of her mother, I would have loved to see her transform the house using all the stuff she has in her room into a Home Alone kind of environment where she's setting off traps and she always barely manages to stay one step ahead of her mother while she tries to uncover the truth. I would have loved to see that play out in this movie, and obviously this movie was going for a different type of vibe, but I still kinda have that on my wish list. It doesn't really matter anyway. When you get right down to it, Run is one of the best psychological thrillers that you can watch, certainly within the past year of release anyway. If you want to watch a psychological thriller that has you on the edge of your seat constantly, and you want to see an actress that's believable in the role of a woman that's confined to a wheelchair, check this movie out. You cannot miss it. This movie has a unique premise, has tons of inventive sequences of suspense, and the lead actress's performances are phenomenal. I recommend this movie without reservation. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of Run. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part where next time I review the superhero comedy Thunder Force. Bye bye!